Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at which Smash Ultimate game is the best, and the only rules that really you need to know about are going to be the fact that if a character only has one rep in the game, then we're not going to be counting them. They're just going to be in this no friends tier right here, and they have to be different characters. So Ken and Richter, they are in their own game because, they're the same character that has only one rep for Castlevania, essentially, at least of what we care about. So let's just get right into it. We do have the no friends category as well, and this is probably the strongest category just because you have Joker, Kazuya, Sonic, Steve, Pac-Man, Snake, Sora. Like, there's so many broken characters. You have a couple stickers like Banjo and Little Mac, and even though it is the biggest one by far, which definitely does help, it would probably be the best, but I'm not going to be talking about any of these characters in the video because they don't have multiple reps. I guess you could, again, argue Belmont does because you have Richter and you have Simon, but it's not going to really matter, and they wouldn't be that good anyway, even within their own category. So thought I should mention the no friends one, but now on to the real video. So we're going to be breaking this up into categories just because it is a little hard to judge which game is better. If you have 5 characters from one game and 2 characters from one game, it's a little bit more concentrated. So these are all the characters with 2 reps of them. You have Final Fantasy, Animal Crossing, Kid Icarus, Street Fighter, Mother, and Xenoblade. And right away, Animal Crossing is easily the worst one. Both these characters are very, very bad, and everyone else on this list is kind of good. The only other bad one would be like Pit. That's honestly going to move Kid Icarus down. Again, we have seen success from Pit lately. The character is still not good. And while Palutena might even be good enough to put it above Mother and Street Fighter, I am still going to put Icarus here, and then I'm going to put Mother right here just because I think Ken is a little bit on the same level as Ness, and I think Ryu is like barely better than Lucas. But if I could see any of these tiers go up, it would probably be the Mother one just because I think Lucas could get way better as a character, and I think Ness could get way better as a character just with Slingshot Tech for Lucas, Psy Tech for Ness. These characters have a ton of potential, but Ken and Ryu are already so strong, and they hit you once and you explode. So I'm going to order it like that, though I think it could be kind of interchangeable for these two at least. Then you have either Xenoblade and Final Fantasy, and I will be putting Xenoblade as the highest rated one just because Pyramithra is ridiculous. I don't know why it's not working, but Aegis is ridiculous, as well as Shulk being very, very good. And while Sephiroth and Cloud are better, and I do think that Cloud is the best character, at least within like this little tier here, I think Sephiroth is so much worse than Shulk, which would probably be the second one for Xenoblade, that it kind of cancels it out. So we're going to have Final Fantasy as the second one, because Sephiroth is still good. Like, he's in this Ken and Ryu tier, and then Cloud's obviously broken, so he is definitely above. These are 100% your top 2. The order of it, I think, is a little bit interchangeable, but I have Xenoblade as number 1, at least again, for the 2 number reps. So for our 3 rep category, we have Donkey Kong, Star Fox, Metroid, Mies, and Kirby. And Kirby is without a doubt the worst one just because Kirby and DDD themselves are so weak. And Meta Knight isn't even close to strong enough to being able to pull them out. You kind of had like Mies being like kind of close, but Mii Brawler is just so much better than all these characters. Like Mii Brawler is very, very good, almost puts them above Donkey Kong as well. And Mii Sword Fighter is very weak, probably the worst character out of this little tier here. And then Mii Gunner's just kind of mid, but like the average here of just these being weak and then Meta Knight being okay versus Mii Brawler being really, really good, Mii Gunner being okay, and then Mii Sword Fighter being weak. I'm going to put Kirby as the worst one. And then I'll put Donkey Kong right above the Mii's just because how weak Sword Fighter is. Because I think Diddy Kong is a little bit worse than Brawler, but I think Diddy's really, really good. I think K. Rool and Donkey Kong are fairly weak, but I don't think they're as weak as a Sword Fighter. Again, the character is garbage, and these characters at least have potential. Maybe you want to put it higher because, Gunner is better than both of these characters, and then Brawler's better than these ones. I just have it as this because, again, Sword Fighter is just so ridiculous. That character, or not ridiculous, ridiculously bad. That character is awful, and even though Brawler's good, I am going to put Donkey Kong here just because Diddy Kong is really good as well. Donkey Kong is not underrated because I think people know how good he is when in the jank situation. He's just bad everywhere else. And then K. Rool has some stuff. Character's not amazing, but they have some stuff. Next up is going to be Metroid and Spaceys, and this one is also pretty tough because you have 2 like S tier characters in both categories in Fox and Wolf and Zero Suit and Samus, and then you have Falco and Ridley. And I think Ridley is worse than Falco, so I'm going to be putting Spaceys as the highest one. Ridley's not a great character. He's probably towards that lower end for sure. He's just so light and he's so big. I mean, he's not even that light, but he's way lighter than he should be for being how big he is. He does some really good hitboxes on him, but it just isn't enough. Zero Suit is really good. Samus is really good, but Fox is like just a ridiculously broken character. Same thing with Wolf as well. Both those characters are insane. And Falco is also like very good. Like, you could argue for Falco being up in that like maybe not S tier but like high A tier area. Like, Falco is very good. His combos are amazing. His bread and butter game is really strong. He has some strong kill confirms as well. Recovery's a little weak. Sometimes he can struggle to kill, but I think Spaceys is the best 3-man tier, and then Metroid is the second best. So for our final 4 games of Zelda, Pokemon, Fire Emblem, and Mario, it gets a little bit harder to compare just because you have Fire Emblem and Pokemon both with 8, but then Zelda has 6, Mario has 10. I don't know how you have them because they're kind of in their tier of their own. So what we're going to do is we have this top tier, high tier, low tier, and mid tier, and you have Zelda, Mario, Fire Emblem, Pokemon. Pokemon is purple, Fire Emblem green, Mario red, and Zelda is blue. And for top tier, we have 4 Mario characters in top tier, 2 Fire Emblems, 2 Zeldas, and 3 Pokemon. High tier has 1 Mario character, has 3 Fire Emblem characters, and 1 Zelda character, and no Pokemon. Mid tier has 2 Mario characters, 1 of both Fire Emblem and Zelda, and then 4 Pokemon characters, kind of insane. And then low tier has 3 Mario characters, 2 Fire Emblem characters, 2 Zelda characters, and 1 Pokemon character. And just in case you're wondering how I got those numbers, this is what the order is going to be. You have Peach, you have Yoshi, you have Wario, and you have Mario in the top tier in no real order. Then you have Bowser in the high tier, you have Luigi and Rosa in mid tier, and then you Plant, Bowser Jr., and Doc in the bottom tier / low tier area. I think the only ones that I could really make arguments for to move up are going to be Bowser Jr. I could see being moved up to that mid tier because that character does have a little bit of sauce, but I think everyone else is fine in their spot. Fire Emblem, you have Roy and Lucina in that top tier. Then you have Byleth, Corrin, and Chrom in that high tier. Marth mid tier. Usually I'd put Marth in low tier, but we'll be nice to him this video and put him in the mid tier. Then you have Ike and Robin within that low tier. Pokemon, you have Pikachu, Greninja, and PT in that top tier. Maybe Greninja should be high tier as well, but I think the other two are definitely top tier. Then for your kind of mid tier area, you have Incineroar, Pichu, and you have Mewtwo. And then for your low tier, you have Puff and Lucario. Lucario is definitely low tier. That character is garbage, but maybe I could honestly see Puff move up to mid tier, and I might do it later on in the video if I change my mind, but I think for now that's fine. And then Zelda, your 2 top tiers are going to be Young Link and Sheik. Then you have Link in the high tier. Then you have Toon Link in the mid tier, and your low tiers are going to be Zelda and Ganon. Maybe you want to put Toon Link in high tier. I think it's a bit of a stretch, but that character has been getting better and better. I see the tech. I see how Toon Link can be good. So if you want to put it up there, I think it's okay. Again, don't really agree, but I can see the angle you're going from. But that's kind of where I got the numbers from. But now let's take the averages. So just looking at the percentages, this is going to be top tier, high tier, mid tier, and low tier. And again, this is only for the bigger games, which are kind of the only things I'm really putting in contention for this list, like Zelda and up. Because when you have 3 and even 2, like Xenoblade is just the best game in the game. That's a funny sentence, but it's the best because, you know, you have 2 super broken top tiers. Doesn't really make it fair because, like, you have a game like Mario where you have more top tiers, but you have more averages that are a little lower, so it's tough. So we're just going to be doing these big 4 games here. And this is a little bit interesting because you have Zelda with the highest amount of low tiers. This is your highest percentage because they have both Ganon and Zelda. But Fire Emblem actually has the highest, or rather the lowest amount of top tiers, which is pretty interesting. I will be eliminating Zelda first, though, just because Fire Emblem has this 37.5% on the high tiers as well. And while top tiers and low tiers are the most important, it does matter how many mid tiers and high tiers you have. And Fire Emblem does have the most high tiers, so that's going to keep them in the game for now. The next game that I'm going to be eliminating is going to be Pokemon. Now, this might seem a little bit weird because they have a way higher percentage of characters in the top tier than Fire Emblem does, but you also have to consider that they have 0 characters in the high tier area, and then they have a majority of their characters being mid tier or worse. So, like, mid tier, low tier is kind of like your bad area, high tier, top tier is your good area. Most of the characters are within this bad area, and Mario has a 50% here as well, so they could even be up to discussion for this. But since Pokemon has the most characters in this mid tier, low tier area, they are going to be the next one eliminated, and then we just have Fire Emblem and Mario. So for the final decision, I have compiled all the characters into what I think would be a normal ranking, and as you can see, I think Fire Emblem is the best game in Smash. Now, a couple italicises before we actually talk about it. Again, we did talk about this earlier, where it's like, you know, technically it is Xenoblade, technically it is like Star Fox, maybe even Metroid, to be honest, but I am going to put it as Fire Emblem just because they have, one, more reps, so it's just more fair, and their low tiers aren't as, like, bad as the characters or the other games with a bunch of reps. Like, they don't have a Lucario. I guess their closest thing would be Robin or Ike, which definitely aren't great, but they ain't Lucario level, so we're going to be giving it to Fire Emblem just because they have more characters than some of these games, so that even though they are very condensed, don't have as many reps. And then I think they're better than Mario because, as you can see, Mario has this bottom 2 and Fire Emblem has this top 2, and a lot of, like, this higher mid area is going to be covered by Fire Emblem. I think all the Fire Emblem top tiers are better than all the Mario top tiers. I think all the Fire Emblem high tiers are better than all the Mario high tiers. I think the mid tiers do win for Mario, but that's the only area where I think the mid tiers actually do win it out. So shout out to Mario for winning mid tiers, but that isn't going to be enough to get them the best game. And I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'm curious what you guys think the best game is. Again, in all actuality, it probably is Xenoblade, but maybe you think it's actually something like Pokemon because you don't think Lucario is as bad as I do, and you recognize how broken Pikachu and PT are. Maybe you still think it's Mario because you're underrating. You think I'm underrating Peach, which I can honestly see. Maybe even Yoshi above Lucina. I think Roy is definitely above both these characters, but I can maybe lose Lucina to, like, right here. Even still, I give it to Fire Emblem. But again, I'm curious what you guys think. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Sport's been absolutely unreal lately. Video ideas are always appreciated. You guys are the best. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.